All right, so it's Saturday morning, and I've got to run a full price analysis for one of my past clients that reached out. He's going to be selling his house. He's building a house. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to throw the camera on and show you guys kind of the behind the scenes on exactly how I price property. And so you're just going to go on this journey with me. It might be a long one, but you guys ask all the time, about how to do a CMA and how to price property correctly in a shifting real estate market. So you're going to see literally exactly how I do this. So I'm going to just talk you through it. This is not a planned video. So I just want to give you guys a true, authentic, behind the scenes look into how I prepare for a listing, not just the presentation, but my plan on how I'm going to price this thing. I'm going to get into price bracketing. I'm going to get into all kinds of stuff. So if you're ready to go on the journey with me, cool. If not, if now's not the right time, maybe you can come back and watch this video later when you've got some more time. So let's dial in and I will talk you through exactly what I am doing. So first things first, I've got all my notes on the property. And so here, we'll just go back and I'm going to do an actual search. And I'll pull the property back up so you guys can see. Well, I gathered all the information, right? So here, I'll just put it in there just so that we can start off on the right foot. 5669. All right. Okay, so here's the public record. So all I'm going to do right now is essentially grab as much information about the property as I possibly can. I've already previewed the property, so I know that its condition really, really well. And so I'm just going to write a couple things down. Specifically, what I'm really looking for is I'll get square footage, year built. It's a one-story. I'm looking for all the characteristics that I'm going to need when I start picking comparables. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And it's on a half-acre lot. While I'm in here, I always search for any listings so I can get as much information as I can. This property, they built this property, so this is all when they bought the vacant land, okay? So this tells me, okay, cool, they bought the lot for about $110,000, which is fine. This is when they bought it. So they're one owner. Okay. So first thing that I'm going to do is, before I get into like specific comparables with their neighborhood, I want to see all the ranches in this area that they would compete with. So not just the ones in their neighborhood. Before I dive into do an actual CMA, I want to see the landscape, everything. I want to be aware of everything, because when you don't, the sellers will be like, dude, there's another property over here on this and this street that you don't have in your analysis, and it really will throw you off. So I may or may not take it into consideration, but let's just check it out. So let me just go to active, pending and sold just for the last year, on just the type of property. So I'm going to do residential, and I am going to just do their school district. So Rochester Schools. And I just want to look at one-story properties. That's what they've got going on for them, because ranches are so rare. And so that's going to really help them. But let me just see. Look at all the sales, all the ranches. Let's just see what's active. And I know their price range is going to be somewhere probably between 500,000 and 600,000 potentially. So I'm going to look at everything $450,000 and above. I don't want to look at anything less than that. All right, so there's 100. So there's quite a bit. So let me back this down and go last 6 months. I'm not doing the CMA yet. I'm just doing a little bit of market research, because this is the part that I've probably never shown you guys on this channel before. All right, so there's still 71. So let's just make sure we're looking at, let's try to whittle this down a little bit. Their square footage is 2250. So so we got 68. Let's put in 1,800 square feet, and I don't want to do anything bigger then 3,000. All right, so there's still 50. Okay, quite a bit is happening with ranches. Let's see. Let's go in here and see what we got. All right, so this view pops up. All right, so you could see, we can actually go back to criteria. My eyes, once you start pricing property, you go right immediately to the outliers. So I know I've got some outliers with these $1 million properties. So let me go into criteria and let me just go 450 to 650. All right, now that's bringing this way down. See, this matches. This is going down to 33 matches. Let's just do ones with basements. That should bring us down even more. Nope, they all have basements. Okay, fine. Garage, let's make sure they have a garage. Okay, so they all have garages. That's fine. Okay, now let's look at what we got. All right, so the display, I like to use the thumbnail display so I can kind of glance to see, okay, is this property comparable to the one that I have? And since it's a new construction, you guys won't be able to see a picture of it, but I saw the property, and it's a newer home. It's built in 2015, which I'm going to mark down right now. Okay. So I'm going to do two things. When I do a full market scope like this, I'm trying to see, okay, of all the ranches, I don't care if this is in the neighborhood or not. This is the same school district in the price range. I just want to get a scope of what's happening over the past year or so. So I'm going to get my floor and my ceiling to get the whole market. So right now, these are active. So let's just look at the actives first. Okay, so our lowest active is 480. So this just came on the market at 480. So I'm just going to, because it's the bottom of the market, I just want to get a good idea of what you get right now for 480. Okay, so I can tell you already the house that I'm doing the analysis on has a private, larger lot. This looks like more of a cookie cutter neighborhood with a smaller, it's a newer home, smaller 2-car garage. Mine's got a huge 3-car. So this is pretty basic. It's not bad. Let's just look inside. Okay, so it's nice. But the property that we're looking at just is a completely different home. Okay, so this makes sense. All right, so that's 480. Let me just look at the top priced active. And you can see right here, status, that's what I'm looking at. So let's see. Okay, so 650 is my top line. Let's check this out. So you can see it's like all brick ranch. Okay, this is more in line with the property that I am doing the analysis on. So let's see this one. What did we say this price was? So this is on the market at 650. Okay, so I'm going to really pay attention to this because the seller certainly is going to bring this property up, most likely. So I'm going to just see where this property's at. I'm going to do a lot of research on this thing. Okay, so let me just look at the photos first. All right, so it's all brick ranch, 3-car garage, nice lot, walkout basement. So that's a big deal. The property I'm doing is not a walkout. Volleyball court, huge lot. I wonder how big the lot is. All right, so it's a bit dated, however. Okay, so yeah, look at this. I mean, it all has to be updated, but that's fine. This one is still active. I'm going to see how long this thing's on the market for. All right, so it's a nice ranch, but it needs to be updated. So it's been on the market for 9 days. They're at 650. Let's see. I'm just going to... I'm going to open up this property and just get a little bit more details. All right, so here's another thing. It's on 2.5 acres. So this is an outlier. I'm going to just dismiss this from the evidence, okay? And that's what I pretend like I'm doing, is I'm a detective looking for evidence. So that right there gets out of the pile of evidence. It's 2.5 acres. Mine is a 1/2 acre. So the next highest active is 579. Let's look at this. All right, so this looks like one of these, again, a new kind of Pulte sub house. Mine's a custom, not mine, but the client's is a custom built home. So this looks like another kind of more of a cookie cutter neighborhood. Great house, but this just gives me an idea. Okay, so really updated. People love this. So, all right, got it. So that has been on the market. Look at that. This thing's been on the market for 30 days. It still has not sold, however. So let me just open this up. All right, so they haven't touched the price. They're still at 579. It's a little smaller than mine. It's a 3.3. Another thing that I do, let me just see. This is a finished basement. Mine is not finished. Interesting. Okay. The other thing I do is I look at the public record, so I get the taxable value. Okay, it's not everything, but it's part of the evidence. So I just want to look at this real quick and say, okay, what are the taxes these people are? Okay, so they're paying taxes on $213K. That's not the property value, okay? So most of you know that, but if there's any new agents that might be watching this, this is not property value, and no, you can't just double it anymore. Those days are long gone. Okay, so I'm just gonna note that. All right, so there's my active. These are all potential competitors of the property in which I am going to be doing the analysis on. So I'll come back and I'll do a selection on which ones I'm gonna pick. Let me just map this too. I just want to see where this property's at. All right. So, okay, so this is up by them actually. So that's actually a comp. All right. So I'm actually going to pick this one as a comp, and I'm going to look at this guy. So this is 579. Just get an idea. So the property I'm doing is all updated. It's all custom. It's a really, really nice ranch. So this one, it's 575, built in 92, smaller lot. Okay, so my head right now, just based on these two comparables, is that I believe that my property that I'm doing can pull more than both of these. So already, just based off of the actives, and yes, I place a heavy emphasis on actives because it's what's happening already. I'm going to look at the pendings and the solds in a second, but if I were to hit the market today, like these are the competition that the buyers are looking at. So for me, I absolutely have to take these into consideration. All right, so let me just look at a couple more of these. This is 550. Okay, so this is really, really similar to the property that I'm going to list. All right, so this is a new construction. No one's ever lived here. Let's see where this is at. That's 550. Let's just make sure that's not a to be built though. Custom, okay. To be built. Okay, so that's a huge difference. And you heard me say it, like, I wonder if this is a to be built, and it is a to be built, meaning this thing is not built. This is not the actual home. This is what the home could look like. So that's a year and a half process. So I'm not even taking that into consideration. All right, so this one on Lake Forest is 489. Okay, I think everything else is good. I don't know what this thing is. This is, I can't not believe these guys want this much money for that house. Been in the market for a long time. I think that thing's way overpriced. Okay, they already did a price reduction, yeah. So let's look at the pendings. All right, so status, pending. So when I look at pendings, I look at, yes, price, but I also look at the days on market. This tells me really what the buyers want and what the buyers are willing to pay for. So my baseline on pendings is 450 and my ceiling is 550. So let's look at this one for 550. It's got a similar size lot. Let's just look at this. So it's an all brick ranch. Nice 2-car garage, nice big lot, elevated property. This is very similar to mine. I mean, this is a nice home. It looks a lot bigger than 2,200 square feet. Double walkout. So this is top line. Let's just go look in the inside. Okay, so yeah, it's a really nice house. Can use some updates, but it's fairly updated. And I bet you it's a finished basement. Let's just check that out. Yep, see the basement. Finished, fully walkout. Okay. All right, so my guy's not, I mean, this thing went for 550 in 8 days. It's interesting. Half acre, where's this thing at? Let's see, Hamlin. Okay, so that's on the opposite side of the city. Okay, so we'll come back to that. I'm gonna pick this one just so I can show the seller. This one went for 450. So I only have 2 pendings really right now. This thing's on the water. All right, so this is my only pending. This gives us some good data. All right, now let's look at solds. Again, this isn't necessarily the CMA yet. I'm just getting a market snapshot of what's going on. So I'm going to breeze through these. These are all older ranches, not very comparable, not very comparable. None of these are really comparable. Let's just go to my top line. Let's go to the next page. Let's see what the highest comp sold for. Okay, this is Pebble Creek on 5 acres, doesn't count. On an acre, doesn't count. All right, so this could be 596. What is this? So it's a new construction. Was this a to be built as well? I bet you it is. Okay. Home is already under construction. Okay, so it's a site property. All right, so that's a new home. We might come back to that. Let's see what this is. This is similar. Okay, that's really needs a lot of updates. That thing sold for, in 25 days, wow, that thing sold for $599. That's crazy. They sold in a great time. They just came off the market, so that's a good comp for us. Let's look at this one. It's a nice bigger ranch. All right, again, needs a lot of updating. They sold for $5. Wow, look at that. They listed it for $549, ended up getting $580 in 7 days. Unbelievable. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to pick that. And then this one is not very comparable. Okay. They listed at $479, got $550 for this thing. This has got to be really, really, really updated. Let's just check it out. No, it's not. Wow. Ranches just sell really nicely here in the Metro Detroit area. I cannot believe that. They must have a great basement too. Let's check that out. I mean, it's nice for sure, but let's just get to the basement. It's a lot of house for sure. All right. Basement's finished, but super, super dated. Okay. They sold for $550. Wow. What's this thing? Okay, this is just like the property I'm selling. Homes like this. So this is a really good comp. All right, what is this thing? Is this a to be built as well? Sale price $546. Custom built 3-bedroom home, 2,300 square feet. Okay. I mean, that's a really, really, really good comp. Rochester Road. Let's see. Map. What side of Rochester Road? Okay, so that's North Rochester Road. All right, let me grab these, and then I'm going to start the analysis. Boom. Okay. Let me just go on this other page because there's a bunch of other solds here too. What is this thing? Great photos. It's a nice ranch. Nice open ranch. Nice driveway. It's a beautiful home. Yeah, I would imagine this thing sold pretty quick. Yep, 7 days. Okay, that makes sense. So we got to put that in the analysis as well. This is just like this. These are all these new homes. 518. All right. All right, so let me grab this. I'm just going to save this, and then I'm going to actually do the analysis now. And I'll just go... All right, I know it says view CMA, but that's not really the CMA. So let me I just want to save this. So I have this. Rochester Ranch analysis. Okay, so let's move on to getting into this. The first thing I'm going to look at is something I've been talking on the channel a lot about lately, which is price bracketing. So let me show you what I do. Before I even get into the analysis, I'm going to say what is the most popular price bracket where all the qualified buyers are looking at homes right now. So as I get into this new listing, I already have an awareness of where the most buyer activity is. So let me show you how I do that. So I'm going to get into So this is a showing time product. So a lot of you are like, dude, I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. Okay, cool. So you can contact Showing Time directly, and you can purchase these products individually. I don't know how much they are, but I've had a lot of agents in our coaching system that have done that because their MLS doesn't integrate with some of these reports that I'm going to show you. But it's still going to work. You could still, okay. You could still get these reports, okay? So I go to the target market analysis, and this report is phenomenal. So what I'm going to look at is, I'm going to say, okay, what I want to look at is the buyer activity between 450 and 650 in the city in which I'm going to list this property. And I want to look at, we can look back over the last 60 days. And let's generate the report. Okay, so far this is in increments of 100,000. We don't want that. Let's go to 25,000 increments. All right, so here we go. What this report is showing us is the number of total buyer showings by price bracket. Now, when we are equipped with this data, we can understand where are the buyers at based on the price ranges that we're going to recommend. So my property is probably going to fall between 550 and 600 right here. Okay, so we can see it's very similar. Let me just look at this. So this bracket has almost twice as many, and this will show you the percent down here. You can see the monthly averages, the weekly averages, and then the showings per listing down here as well. So all I want to do is we're not going over 600 for sure. So this is our wheelhouse. So between 525 and 600, this $75,000 bracket, we can see that from a percentage, right on the scale of things. So let me, 46, there's almost double the amount of buyers from 525 to 550. So that is a big deal. When we go over 550, the buyers cut. I'm just noting this, so when I have my conversation with the seller, they go down by 50%. And when we go to 575, we get cut again. Not quite so dramatic. On the spectrum of things, another 10% or so. All right. All right, so that's what I need to know. That's fine. I just want to show them, like, hey, as you get into different brackets, the amount of buyers increases. And this is what happens all the time. So the takeaway for you guys watching the video, I'm doing this for myself anyways, and you're just watching. But if you go essentially down in price for the most part, you'll get more and more showings by price bracket, right? So you can see the same thing happens between 475 and 500. There's 12 showings. Look at the bracket right underneath, 450 to 475. I mean, look at that. It's night and day difference. So if this property was in that bracket, obviously this would be the price range that we want to be in. It'd be tough to get into this bracket. This has the least amount of buyer activities in this city. Okay, so I'm good on that. Now I'm going to go over and do the actual analysis. Oh, what's the deal? Okay. So I will show you what I do. First thing that I do is I start with a map because I want to get the area, which is really important because different areas pull different values, as you guys already know. Okay. So I'm going to so here's our subject. Let's just see. I'm going to grab, this is more of a rural area too, which I know you guys have had a lot of questions on. So I'm just going to grab a usually you won't see me do this. Usually when there's a lot of transactions in a more densely populated area, I'll go specific because there's a lot more transactions, but in a rural area, I'll probably have to go out further. So let's just see what we're looking like here. So I'll go from Adams over to, I'm going to pull down right here. Oh, why is that going out like that? Okay, and I'll come down to, I'll just grab this area. Okay, so now I've got my area selected. Let's go see what we have. So I want to look at all of our competition again. Now I can go pending, sold. I don't have the entire city. I'm going to come back to how many days I need because I want the best comps that are the most comparable. Okay, so I'm going to leave the time frame alone for a second because I want to make sure I put in some other characteristics of the property first. So we have the ranch. We want to make sure that it's a sale, not a lease. At least 3 bedrooms. It has a basement. It has a garage. Square footage, I'm going to say 1,800 to 3,000. And I know that's a big range. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, so I've got 22, which is a lot. I'm just make sure I would go residential. That knocked out one more, so that's good. So let's go last. Well, let me just see what we have here. So those are all ranches. Wow, okay. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so again, we've got some outliers. So I'm going to go back to criteria. And when I say outliers, again, there's one at 724. That's not our wheelhouse. We got a couple $1 million ones. That's not our wheelhouse. So let's go back to criteria and put in price. Oh, whoops. Price I put in 3. Bedrooms I meant to put in 3. So price, we're going to go 450. We're not going to push 600. So now I got 12. All right, so this is much more manageable. All right, so now we're going to go through the comparable selection process, okay? So from a bird's eye view, we can see that these are all 3 and 4 bedroom homes. They're all within inside of our square footage range. Our subject is what, 22, just under 2,300. We've got 1 active. Did I pick pending? Okay, nothing is pending, which sucks because I like to have a pending, which tells us a lot. But we got quite a bit of solds, so this is really good. I'm just gonna go to our thumbnail, and the only one that's for sale is this thing that, yeah, that's not even a comparable. So that's not going to be part of the analysis. So I'm gonna go back to look at the solds. Some of these were in the original analysis that we just did. Look at this. So this one sold, listed for 535, sold for 600,000. Did we look at this one already? Let me pull this up. I don't think so. 3-car garage. Looks like it's got some land. All right, so let me just look to see how much land this has. This has just over an acre. Okay, so I still will probably put this in because it's close by. Ours has a ½ acre, so it's double the lot size, but it's still comparable because it's geographically located fairly close. Is it a walkout? Yes, it is. Okay, so it's a walkout basement with some land and super, super, super dated. Okay, so, well, that's not terrible. Just really bad photos. So that's the other thing you guys get to see is like, man, oh man, these agents just crazy with the bad photos. All right, I'm going to include that. Let's look at this one. We looked at this one before. So this one has to be part of the analysis for sure. This is sold in 25 days, listed at $599, sold at $595, smaller lot, a little bit bigger, but a little bit more outdated. This is built in 94, ours is built in 2015. All right, so that's a 4, okay, and let's look at this one. This one looks like it's on a bunch of land. 1.6 acres. Okay, this is 3.5 acres. So this is getting up there. I'm going to leave that one off. That's 3.5 acres. 6 acres. That's staying off. All right, there's a ½ acre. This is a good one. Sold for 440, listed for 550. They got it in 7 days, right? So this is a really, really good comp. Looks like it sold in, wow, like just a couple weeks ago, this thing closed. So this is a really good comp. This is the one I think that was really nicely done inside. Yeah, that's a really, really, really good comp. Okay. Tinkin. This is right by their house. So 2 acres though, man. That's the only thing that we can't really use. This is a ½ acre. This is more like it. List price $475, sold at $500. This is probably the lowest we want to go, and it's not even that comparable at all. All right, so we got to leave this off. Okay, so those are the comps I'm going to use. I've got this one, 2, and I got 3. So that is good. These are all very comparable to mine. What you guys didn't get to see, I guess, in this video is like the subject property, because there are no photos of it. There's no old listing to reference. I'm going off memory of walking through the property. This is why I do a 2-step listing appointment process, because I want to go there, preview the home first, understand what I'm dealing with so that I can go back just like an appraiser does, do my research, and then I know, okay, what are the comparables I need to use based on the subject property. Okay, so I've got my 3 comps selected. Now I can hit CMA. So here are the pages that I like to do. So summary of comparables, and I like to do the 3-up comparison, days on market, and then I like to also put in the map, and I hit finish, view CMA. So I'm going to, let me just kind of look at a couple things when I generate this. I'll kind of walk you guys through how I finalize my recommendation. So average days on market for this property that I'm going to talk about with the seller. This was in March, June, and June. So these are very recent sales, very close by. These are really good comps. The ranches, all of them are bigger. Things sell really quickly. You can see they get about $220 a square foot. Not that we take that into like a huge, we don't want to just use price per square foot. That's what consumers do, and that's what amateur realtors do. It's part of the analysis, but you shouldn't just grab this number, times it by their square footage to get the value. Why? Because you're not taking into consideration the condition. What if one house is the same size, it's across the street, but it's a complete dump? Does it sell for the same price per square foot? No. So don't get caught in that. But I just want to get an idea. So now, here's the key thing. I doubt anybody is still watching this video because this is probably one of the most boring videos I've ever made. But I said to myself, well, if you really want to see what I'm doing, I mean, this is the best way to do it. I'm going in with a 5% variance on all pricing recommendations. This is what I'm telling all of the agents that I coach as well, because the market is shifting. The market's absolutely slowing down. So I'm going to look at 220, let's say 220. I just want to see what that comes out to be, because they can get on the top. They can get the top price per square foot, but so are they 2250? 2250. Oh, is that right? 220 times 2250. Yeah, so they're coming down to 500. They can get on the upper side of that, up to probably 225. And again, I'm not doing price per square foot because you can see it throws everything off. I'm just getting an idea. All right, so that's at 506. Okay, so we probably need to be, just based on the bracketing, going back to this is probably our wheelhouse right here. This is probably the world we need to live in. If we go right on to I'm probably going to recommend 550, because 550 gets us the most amount of showings, because we're going to be in this bracket, this bracket, and this bracket. That's why I'm not pricing at 549.9. Okay, all of you watching this, Showing Time, the company with the most data on all of the analytics, is telling you right now, don't price at 549, price at 550. And then you fall into both of these brackets. So when buyers are searching for homes between 500 and they put 550, they don't put 549.900, they put 550. You show up in all of these brackets, but this is the main one. So I'm probably going to land, I'm sure they're going to want to be in this bracket between 550 and 575, but because of the 5% variance, I'm going in, they would probably want 575. I'm going to recommend 550, okay? Because that's my variance that I think we need to be in to be ahead of the market, so we don't end up outpacing days on market, which we don't want to do that. We want to sell within 13 days or less. And so that is the goal. In order to do that, I think 550 is going to make the most sense. So hopefully got a couple good takeaways and how I landed on the price. I've got other CMA videos where you can see the subject better, but at least you can see what I'm doing to come up with the pricing strategy. And now I get to have the conversation with the seller next week. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this analysis, and we'll see you guys in another video very soon. Appreciate the time.